All right, I think we're live. Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome to today's virtual write-in. It's the first, I think it's the first official virtual write-in of the 2023 NaNoWriMo season.
Yeah.
Yeah. My goodness. How did it already get to this point? I mean,
Right? How was it September?
I don't know. It crept up on me. Awesome. Welcome everybody who's joining today. I see somebody in the chat asking anyone else's first NaNoWriMo. So if you're a first timer, welcome. Feel free to say hi in the chat. My name is Catherine. I am the communications director at NaNoWriMo. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them.
And I'm Josie. I'm the programs associate, and my pronouns are she, her, they, them. If I sound a little off, I'm good, guys. I'm doing good.
Oh man, I've got a little frog in my throat too. Yay. Oh man, a lot of first timers. Awesome. Cool. Well, welcome. I see, excuse me, I see some familiar, I was going to say familiar faces, but it's really familiar usernames in the chat as well.
I'm liking these little waving emojis we get now. It's so cute.
Yeah. Oh, the little pink ones.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, if it's your first time, or if you've never been to one of these before, you're not sure what to expect. Basically what a virtual write-in is just an hour where we get together and get psyched to write our novels and do some work on it. And so I know November isn't here yet, but we just launched our Nano Prep. We're calling it Nano Prep 101. So basically for the next 6 weeks, because it's 6 weeks until November starts, which is terrifying. But for the next 6 weeks, we have kind of a suggested sort of like course, workbook, activities, events, a bunch of stuff going on to help you get prepared to write a novel. So you can feel free to kind of go through it. I'll put the link to it in the chat here. And we've had this for a while, but we've did a big revamp of all of our materials, and so some of it's new, some of it's updated. But if you're interested in sort of the prep part, the preparation of getting ready to write, that's what we're going to be focusing on today in this write-in, and also for the next few weeks. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my notes and my tabs. So
Here. And also, you can now officially set an official goal for the NaNoWriMo 2023 challenge. You can do this just by going to your dashboard, and there's like a fancy cool banner at the top, and you can join a new novel or join an existing novel. It's really easy to get to. It's just on your dashboard.
Great. Yeah, I'll put that link in the chat as well. So but yeah, so for this next hour, we're basically going to be hopping between chatting a little bit and sharing what we're working on, or if you have questions or you just want to pick other writers' brains about stuff, it's a good place to do it. But then we're also going to be giving some writing prompts. So this week for our Nano Prep stuff, we're kind of focusing on generating ideas. I don't know about you, but like sometimes just like coming up with the idea of like, oh, this is the novel that I want to work on is kind of hard. So if you're not quite sure what exactly you're going to be working on yet for NaNoWriMo, or if you have an idea and you kind of want to flesh it out a little bit, that's sort of what we're going to be working on today. So we'll give you some optional writing prompts. You never have to use them. but we'll all write together in some timed writing sprints. Great. I'm seeing some people who says, I've got nothing at the moment. Great, we're in the same boat. All right. Well, speaking of that, do we want to get started with our first writing prompt?
Yeah. So our first writing prompt is make a list of places and things that make you feel excited, inspired, or curious. So try to write at least 20, but like any number will do.
Yeah. And I was yeah, just this is kind of a big brainstormy list. It can be very messy. And I was just trying to think of some things that I might start out with that get me interested or excited or curious, and was thinking of this story that I've been working on. It's like, oh, like fairy tales and punk music and swamps and Halloween and secret notes and snarky humor. So it could be anything big or small. This is just to get our brains and our writing fingers warmed up. So
Yeah, since this is warm up, we'll only write for like 5 minutes and I'll have a timer up. So that's until I can't do math in my head.
5 minutes from now would be 12.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, there's the timer. Okay. Have fun, guys.
All right.
And time's up. So feel free to share your favorites from your list or what you're working on in the chat.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm seeing some people have been sharing what they're working on. Was it Lady Montias said I came up with an idea in a dream, which is cool. I think I've written short stories off of dream ideas, but I don't think I've ever written a full novel from a dream idea. So that's really neat. Lydia says, I've got the setting, but no idea about plot or character.
It happens.
Alexa says, I never know what I'm going to write until November 1st.
Oh, I see a lot of people have like settings. Like Katie Cat has I've got Spice and Witches, Ireland, and Tundras.
Ooh.
Allie Cat says bedroom, dorm, cafe, garden, San Francisco Park.
Nice. Chantal said chai lattes, love, and horror movies. I love those three things in combination.
That honestly sounds like a title, like right there.
I know, right? I'd read that. Hamsterliciousness says queer romance is something really dark and controversial at the library and fantasy.
Great name.
I don't know if y'all know this, but Josie has some very cute hamsters. So oh, Doria said one of their favorite things was airports once you get past security, but it's still 2 hours before your flight.
Now that's like such a specific mood, but like it's so vivid.
Yeah. I mean, it's because you're in this weird kind of limbo space when you're in the airport, but you can't go anywhere yet. Ooh, Sarah said old books, old maps, spiders, and isopods. These are all great. I want to collect all of these together in like a museum of curiosities or something. Just
right.
jump from thing to thing. So I know a few people were sharing kind of where they got their ideas from, but I'm curious where people usually find writing inspiration. And it could be, you know, for characters or settings or places or people or plots or just scenes or dialogue. I don't know. I'm curious where you often find that inspiration from. Josie, do you have a specific, I don't know, place or structure or practice for finding inspiration?
That's hard. I feel like just being inspired from like other media or like dreams, stuff like that. But that's good for like plots. And I feel like I'm like way like worse at like coming up with like character ideas. Like I got like it's like really hard for me to come up with new characters, but I can come up with plots like pretty easily, I think.
Interesting. It's cool. I actually, man, mentioning dreams, I literally just remembered that I had this dream last night that I was being like chased through this realm of the gods, and I hid in a bathroom from whoever was chasing me, and Aphrodite was in there, and she was like, oh yeah, let me sign your water bottle like a rock star. So that was a dream that I had. I don't know, there could be a story in there somewhere.
It's very Percy Jackson-ish to me. Like it sounds like something that Aphrodite would do from that
right,
universe.
I know. Ooh, Decipher Yourself has a good point that says basing a character on a person you know or an actor is a good start, but it's your job to make them unique from there. They said fan fiction gets a break on this one, maybe, but yeah, that's a good point, because I do get a lot of inspiration from just like conversations I have with people. But then I'm like, okay, I need to change this up a little bit, because I can't just steal it from real life, you know?
Um, ooh, I like Michelle's like inspiration ideas from Google Images, eBay, and movies, TVs, as well as memories and travels. I really like the eBay one, like
Mm,
just like browsing through eBay. I think
yeah.
that just reminded me because I was like looking at Depop earlier, and I was like, huh, I wonder what made these people like give up these items.
Ooh, that's a good question. Sophie says traveling and people watching. Raindell Knight said audiobooks and podcasts give me inspiration. Ooh, Barbara said science articles. That's cool.
Ooh, ooh,
Ooh. Oh, go ahead.
oh, okay. I just read Brandon's a horror novelist once said to do exercises by looking at mundane things and saying, what's wrong with it? And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. I think there's another one. Might have been the same Brandon, I don't know, but said I think part of it has to do with training your mind to pay attention and finding inspiration around you. Which I think is a good point. It's like there's always something going on in the world around you. And I think sometimes it's just kind of like training your writer brain to be like, okay, what's the story here? Or what could be the story here?
I also see a few people like talk about like being in response to something. Like Sarah says, I like crossovers. Like what happened to put character A, world B with plot C, and work from there.
Hmm.
And I saw another one that was like, uh, oh, from Lady Agatha. When you watch a movie or show and realize you could have done it better, so you go do it.
Yeah, no, that is, I've definitely had those like just like righteous like, oh no, I'm gonna make this work.
It's like, man, I can do these characters better.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's where some of the best fan fiction comes from, I think. Cool. All right. So while we're being creative and having this brainstorm of ideas, shall we move on to the next prompt?
Yeah, let's get to it. So we'll write a little longer for this one, 10 minutes. And so for this one, choose a few of your favorite things from the list you just created, or you can like steal from other people in the chat if you want, and experiment with how you might be able to connect them. Use phrases like, I wonder, or what if, it would be really interesting if.
Yeah. And yeah, I was kind of going through this when I was putting this together and thinking like, oh, you know, what are some questions that I would ask myself from some of the things that I listed before? And what I came up with was, you know, what if there were fairies living in a swamp who were really into punk music? Maybe they only come out around Halloween and send out secret notes to invite people to their parties. And would this be set in the modern world? Would humans know about magic? What would happen if somebody who wasn't invited just crashed the party? This
Oh,
is,
we got a whole plot right there.
I know. And I was like, and then I was finding myself like, ooh, what kind of person would crash that part? Anyway, so just taking some of those things that interest you and asking yourself questions about them and seeing how they might be joined or conflated or interwoven. I don't know. I think it could be fun. So
Yeah. And of course, if you don't want to use the prompt and just keep working on what you're working on, that's fine too. So as I said, it'll be for 10 minutes. So that's till 32.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
All right.
And time's up. So put feel free to put your favorite ideas, your favorite ifs, questions, or ideas that you put, or what you're doing during this time period. I see some people already putting down their like story ideas, and y'all are having like fun in there.
No, there's some really good questions in here. It's like, I don't know, good questions that make me think about what a story could be, I think. I also saw Sophie asked the question, when do I know if I should add like mythical elements or keep it realistic? And like that, you know, that's a question for you for each individual writer. But I also think that this is sort of what this, you know, prep time is good for, because it's a lot of exploration and just trying things out and seeing where they go. And I think, you know, you could try writing little snippets of both, or think through what your plot might be with or without the mythical elements, and just see what you're more excited about writing. And because I think, especially in November, like halfway through November, if you're working on something and you're like, oh, I just got to slog through this. And if it's not something that you're really excited about, that can be difficult to keep going and to keep that momentum up. So yeah, that would be my advice, is just see what you're most excited about writing.
Yeah. If you're more of a planner, I feel like that's something that'll come up if you like decide to plan with like world building. So and I think like that's probably like the place to probably explore it and seeing if you want to like explore like mythical elements or not. Because I know for me sometimes it's just kind of hard exploring mythical stuff, because you have to go into like research or like learning about magic systems, and sometimes you just don't want to do that.
Katie said, well, I just got a great idea for a middle grade fantasy novel, which is not the age group or genre that I normally write for. That's cool. That's fun. Yeah, I'm also not usually a middle grade writer, and I did a grad school program, and one of my professors made me write a middle grade novel, or at least start one, and it was harder than I was expecting it to be. But it was a lot of fun to explore that. Embry says, do I need this ridiculous scene in my novel? No. Do I still want to find a way to make it essential and integral to the plot? Yes.
Now that's the way to do it. I really like a lot of like the story ideas in here. I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I can read all of them.
I know.
But they're all good.
Ooh. Doria says, I started off thinking that none of my ideas go together and ended with a moment that is definitely part of the story I'm wanting to tell. I love it when that happens.
I see a lot of people like inspired by like bookstores. Aaron says so many present day fantasy books involve magical libraries. I asked myself, what about magical comic book shops? And I did see Decipher Yourself also had what if an ancient arcane library was converted into a modern fast food style place, which is so cute. I can like picture that so vividly.
Yes. Also, Amanda says, I'm working on writing a novel involving dolphin physics, and I'm very curious about dolphin physics. Yeah, these are also good.
Oh no, where'd my tab go? Oh, there it is.
The eternal struggle.
Where are all my tabs? Who knows? Anyway, I found my tab. And as y'all keep sharing ideas, I also I think it's good to ask like what inspires you or like what you like or dislike about novels, because that can inspire you to
Mm-hmm.
write. Because you can write in response to that, as I said, like we talked about earlier. So what are some of your favorite or least favorite things that you see in the novels? So what makes you stay up reading a book until 3 a.m.? But or what makes you put down a book because you like hate it so much?
I will. Yeah, that's a good. I will say, this recently happened to me, and it's not necessarily that I hated the book, but and like some people love this in a book, but for me
Mhm.
personally, it's like when so many bad things happen to a character, and it's just like,
Oh,
and the worst thing happens, and I'm just
oh
like,
no.
I can't handle this anymore. So that
Uh,
happened to me recently when I was reading a book, and it's like not a bad
oh,
book, but it was like the one thing that this character really didn't want to have happened, and I was like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if we can recover from this.
I think like for that stuff, I feel like it's hard for me to read. Like if it's in like a show or something, I can like power through it. But in a
Mm,
book, it makes me so sad.
yeah.
Um, I know for me, uh, hmm, okay, I know like personally, I'm like really sensitive to like voices,
Mm,
like the character's voice, like the narrator's voice,
hmm.
and which isn't like the book's fault. So sometimes if it's like just like someone I wouldn't vibe with in real life, I
Right.
won't read
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and also not really the fault of anyone. But I know sometimes with like YA, especially if like the book, like the narrator sounds like too much like an adult, like the adult writer, then it like throws me off because I'm like, oh, what? A teenager wouldn't do that.
Mm. Cozy Bree, I think is the username, but it says it's hard for me to want to keep reading a book if the writer is telling rather than showing because it just gets boring. Yeah, I definitely feel that.
I gotta scroll. I just saw lady says I couldn't get past the first chapter because it's taking forever, the queen forever just to go to the bath. And I'm like, what kind of book is that?
Uh,
Why is that in the book?
oh man, I think Rye 39 says whenever the love interest keeps saying the main character's full name, instant eye roll, completely unrealistic. It does make me realize how seldom I actually use people's names like
Right.
talking to them face to face. But
I know some people use it for impact in books, but yeah, I think that's one of those. It makes you think.
yeah.
Um,
There's one from Renee about something that they love, which is love when there are secrets revealed or someone was hiding their true identity.
ooh,
Everyone finds out and is shocked in a good way. I also do love that. Yeah. Yeah, these are so good. Yeah, I know. I feel you. Sometimes you read a book and you pick up a book and you're like, this is doing exactly what the author wanted it to do, and it's just not for me.
yeah, yeah. And it's like that's just me. Like that's just my taste not lining up and fine. Um, oh, I think this is a response to an earlier thing. I saw Amanda say, I love fan because the plot could literally be two characters make cookies and flirt, and people will still enjoy it. Um, I think there's a response earlier about like
Mm,
stories where like they're like don't really have a plot, and I'm like, yeah,
mm.
that can be a plot actually, just like daily lives,
Yeah.
cookies. baking cookies.
Yeah,
Don't feel limited on what like a pot should be. Like it can be like nothing
I
because
know.
it's something still.
Yeah, my benchmark has kind of become like, does this make me feel something when I
Yeah.
it's like not much has to happen, but if it makes me feel an emotion, whatever that emotion may be.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of a genre thing now. I don't really
Mhm.
remember. Like cozy fiction, I think.
Yeah.
I guess not really genre, but people like say it's just cozy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, Erin asked if we have any other steampunk people here. I'm definitely a steampunk person.
ooh,
I don't
steampunk.
write a lot of it, but I do enjoy reading it. So
I
passing it.
haven't really read it, but I do like the aesthetic a lot. I think it's something I'd get into.
Yeah. Silfra, I think, says, I want problems that I don't deal with in real life. If it's too much like the real world as it is, I am out. I agree. I agree on that one. Aylor
Uh,
says the misery conga trope can be fun when played for comedic purposes, but for drama or in grimdark settings, it gets old fast. I have not heard the term misery conga before, but I like it.
I like the idea of it for like comedy purposes because it's the whole like anything that will go wrong can go wrong, and it's just like someone like you walk outside, you slip on a banana, and you're like, this doesn't happen to people. Hmm. Ooh. I see a question from Jordan, that blonde girl. Question for the chat: how do y'all feel about multiple point of views, but one point of view is dominant?
Ooh,
Oh,
good
I have to
question.
think about that.
I really like multiple point of views, but it can get
Mm-hmm.
tricky because so I feel like a lot of the times you have a like a favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think my answer to that would be if the dominant point of view is my personal favorite one, then I'm down with it. I don't know if that's helpful.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. I think I'm the same because like like there's multiple point of views, and it's just like it comes to the character you don't really like, and you're like, oh, I don't want to read this chapter. But I think usually the dominant one's like the protagonist, and I feel like most of the time I do like the protagonist in those cases.
Mm-hmm. I do think it is fun to kind of, I don't know, spice it up a little bit, and get, sometimes you're like halfway through a book and then you get somebody
Hmm.
else's perspective. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, they saw this, scene totally different from that other character did. And now I have to rethink how I'm looking at this story.
yeah.
That can be fun.
Oh, yeah, I'm liking how that's like becoming more common, just like multiple point of views.
Hmm.
Um, 'Cause even like in the same series, like they'll just like switch point of views, like the
Oh yeah.
next book, or like add more, and you're like, oh my gosh, it changes everything, and it's so
Right.
cool.
Yeah. All right. Chevyline asks, is there going to be another writing prompt? Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get to the last one.
Where'd my tabs go? There we are. Okay. All right. Um, so this one is you're using one of your ideas or questions from the previous pod, and now you're gonna write a scene about that. So write a scene about how that one's what if scenario might play out. You can use dialogue, setting description, action, new characters, whatever feels most interesting for you. Um, you can even write like a bullet list or something. It's just what writes natural. And if you don't want to tackle on those ideas yet, just write whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. Again, this at this point in this stage, it's just about exploring and yeah, seeing what is exciting to you.
Okay, we can write for like 12 minutes.
All
I
right.
can totally do math. And that's till 59. Okay. And time's up. So feel free to leave how that went for y'all. Any final word counts if you want to share.
Yeah. How'd that go for you? Do you have any ideas you'll be moving forward with?
Maybe I couldn't I was struggling with a scene, but there's one idea with um small town mysteries I was thinking of, and I was like, this might be fun to follow.
Cool. Yeah, I think I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to continue working on a project that I've already started
Yeah,
or start something entirely new.
yeah, that's always a dilemma. Like, do I finish the last thing I started, or should I do something new?
Yeah. Yay. Misty Kate said, I really appreciate you have the prompts in the description. I'll come back to these videos when I can. So yeah, if you're coming in late or if you missed it, or if you want more of these and there aren't any coming up, we'll have more planned out later. We're still kind of finalizing our event schedule for the fall. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you should get notifications when we have new live events going up. But we also have a playlist on our channel that's just, I think it's up to like 150 or 200 of these virtual write-ins. So if you're like, oh, this is really helpful and just want the writing prompts or want that little push, we've got a ton of those old live streams on the channel. Yeah.
And also outside of YouTube, we also have a lot of events we host on Zoom. So make sure you check out our upcoming events this month. There's a couple this week. So yeah, we'll drop the link for that in the chat.
Yep.
Here we go.
Katie said, I didn't need a new story idea, but now I have one. Thanks. You're welcome. Awesome. Hey, yeah, and thank you to everybody who came and showed up and helped us kind of kick off this Nano prep season. Like I said, we'll have a ton more stuff coming up. So we'll update our calendar and update the events when those get finalized. Really excited. I think probably the next live event that will be happening on our YouTube channel is in a couple of weeks. I believe we're going to have a webcast with Chris Beatty, who is the founder of NaNoWriMo. So stay tuned for that, because that is going to be really fun, I think. Yeah. And yeah, if you wanna do some more like novel prep stuff, I'll drop in the link to our Nano Prep 101 page where you can peruse to your heart's content all of the idea generation and character creation and world building and tons and tons of good stuff on that page. So, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next time. Good luck with your